happy. And no time to regret the past and live in sorrow.
We are very, very blessed to have you all here today. This is a listening and learning session, and the pastor was kind enough to say that, you know, he wanted you to listen to me, but in reality, it's kind of the opposite. I'm here to listen and learn from all of you, and at the same time, if you have questions, I can do my best to try to answer those. There is nothing that's off limits on these listening and learning sessions. There's not. So Eileen, if you have a question for me on something about school or the community, please ask me. If you have a question on anything, even if it's controversial, you can ask me. That's why I'm here. But I'm very, very pleased to be here at First Baptist. I've been doing this now for 5 years as your mayor, and then a year when I was running for mayor. And I will tell you, I've never had one start as beautifully as what happened today with that wonderful gift of music. So what a great, great start. What a way to get all of you inspired and certainly get me inspired too. The pastor did say that I do have a passion for diversity and embracing diversity. I do. It's just something that I learned at a very young age. And my mom was the head nurse at was called the Human Services Center in Yankton, South Dakota. And she taught us to really that everybody is important. Everybody has a voice, and everybody should also be heard in this life's journey. And that's everybody. Whether you're rich, you know, whether you're poor, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're black, whether you're white, it does not matter. Everybody is important. And so that's why I think in Sioux Falls, as we're becoming more and more diverse, it's also more and more important that we kind of reach out to people of diversity and try to find out, okay, what are the goods? What are the bads? Or maybe what are some of the uglies that are going on in our town? And so this gives you an opportunity to engage me. And again, I want to thank you. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's a glorious day, other than the wind, but it's a glorious day. But yet you folks decided to come out and hang out with the mayor. So I appreciate that. But it is it's a opportunity for you to engage me. So I hope that you're not going to be shy. Is anybody shy here? Don't be. Okay, good. Is anybody willing to ask me the first question? And let's get this started a little bit. Welcome. And would you mind just to tell us your first name, please?
My name is Dennis Boa.
Hi, Dennis.
Yeah, how you doing? The first thing I want to thank you for, honestly, I've been living in other cities and I moved to Sioux Falls. Well, I haven't really seen a mayor that is interested in getting close to, diversity like this kind of section. So it's kind of good, and it's kind of break the ice between, us and the city.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'm from the Liberian community.
Yes.
And one thing I want to ask here is we have a lot of people in our community that have some little bit of language barrier.
Yes.
And this language barrier, is carried over to employment, and some cultural barrier to also carry over to employment. For instance, people may not understand something, but they don't want to be dumb also.
Yes.
So they pretend to understand it, and that's kind of, snowballing things. So I want to know what is the city doing to to this little group, and there may not be much, but this little group who want to survive and want to be part of the community, but they have just this little bit of barrier, that they need to overcome in order to save their family. I think that will have a little bit of benefit, because if the barrier is overcome, the trip to social services and trying to get help will kind of reduce. So does the city have an approach to that kind of?
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks. Yeah.
And Dennis, thank you. The topic that Dennis brings up in terms of barriers to employment, whether it be language barriers or training barriers or even getting to and from work. There's all these challenges that people have in terms of getting them the employment that they want or the opportunity that they want. Dennis talked about the language barrier, and that is really it's critical. Whether you're speaking verbally or whether you're speaking in written form, whether you're reading, whether it be on a phone or on a computer or face-to-face, it is probably one of the most critical needs that you in order to get good employment in Sioux Falls or in South Dakota or really in America or the world. The city does not have its own program. It does not. And I don't ever think the city will probably generate its own program in terms of helping people learn how to speak or to read or to write. That's probably not going to happen. However, one thing that we are doing right now is we are working on things like workforce development programs, and so is the governor, and so is the city council, trying to find ways to provide training for people who want to increase their knowledge or increase their skill set to learn something new or learn a new skill. So that's going on right now, Dennis. We've got 2,400 job openings right now. 2,400. It's one of the biggest challenges in our city. Now it's a great opportunity as well, but it's also a challenge. But we've got 2,400 job openings, and we can't find people to take those jobs. Okay? Now, that may sound a little unusual, but that is happening right now. So one of the things that I tell people that are looking for a better job or looking for just any job or looking for a new skill, there's probably never been a better time than right now to do it. Right now. Because of all the job openings that are out there. Because there are employers, Dennis, that even right now, even if you do have a barrier of some sort, maybe you're not as educated in this or skilled in this, there are employers right now that are willing to take a risk on that person now, more so than they probably ever have, because they are struggling so much to find people to work. So that is reality. And you see it everywhere. You do. I mean, flat out. There's probably employers who would have never taken a risk on somebody from maybe even Liberia. Okay? Flat out. Let's just be honest. But now I think they're realizing, you know what? Whether you're from Liberia or whether you're from Sudan or whether you're from Korea or whether you're from Yankton, South Dakota, if you're going to work, if you want to work, and you're someone who they can trust will be there and you'll do a good job, they're going to look to hire you. But Dennis, in terms of programs, the city of Sioux Falls city government does not have programs. There's others, of course, that are out there, but one of the hard realities of America is that you do have to get that education, even if you have to do it on your own. Whether it be through a private training program or a school or going back to university, those are the things that you have to do. Can I ask, how many of you would consider getting a different job right now? Anybody looking for maybe another opportunity? Yes. Can I ask you, do you sense a barrier right now in terms of getting that new job?
Yes.
Talk about that.
Sometimes if you apply for the job, they might call you for the interview. After the interview, they will deny. They will say, "We're going to give you a call," and that's it. They're not going to call you if you do a follow-up. They're going to tell you, say, "Oh, we found someone that better qualified for that job." So it also our mind why we're trying to move in the city. We contribute towards the development of the city, but we have that little difficulty moving forward. So how can we break it?
But I guess I don't understand that. If you, again, no one's just going to give you a job. No one's going to just give you a job. That's not the way it's going to work. You're going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to compete for that job just like everybody else. So if you apply, I would strongly encourage you to apply face to face. At a minimum, you just can't call somebody and say, "Hey, I need a job," and then hope that they're going to give you a follow-up. You are going to have to compete for that job. But the reality is that when you've got 2,400 job openings right now, the odds are much, much better right now that you're gonna, as long as you are qualified or willing to work hard, that opportunity for you is probably better now than what it's been. What do you want to do?
My fee, because when I was in Minnesota, I just moved here.
Yeah,
when I was
welcome.
in Minnesota, I was doing television communication.
Okay.
But when I moved here, I found it a little bit hard to get into that particular field.
So have you gone into the different TV stations in town?
Sure.
Who have you gone to?
Oh, I don't want to call in to attack people like that.
Well,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
So you've gone into the TV stations.
That's right.
Okay, great.
I applied other places. They said, "Oh, they will call me." But I really love my job. But I cannot find a job in here. So what I do, I have to do something that will keep me going.
Well, and I commend you for that. I do, and that's, that is one thing that I in your name, please.
Edward Marsh.
Edward.
Yeah.
Well, Edward, first of all, I commend you for, he just said something that just made me feel really good. He said, you know what? He goes, I've got to find something, I'm going to work hard at something at least until I find that job that ultimately I want. I love that. And everybody watching this program is loving that too. They are. And so I thank you. Now, is it hard? You bet it is. But I love it. At least he's going to go out and he's going to work and do something, even though he just moved here from Minnesota, until he can find that opportunity that he's truly enthused about. And it sounds like it's in media or television communications of some sort. You're in a pretty good place. I mean, we've got a number of TV stations in town. We've got other media outlets in town as well. But it is a specialty, and there's not a lot of them, that's for sure. But, I wish you the best. But thank you for moving here. Why did you move here? Did you hear that we had jobs?
Yes.
Could you give them that? So you heard we had jobs in Sioux Falls?
Yeah, I heard that they had a lot of job and a lot of opportunity.
Good.
For youth.
For youth, great.
Yeah. But we, the youth that are coming in, we need to hear about it, but we cannot find a better job. People keep talking about it on news, on newspaper, or on the website. So when you enter the city, it's a different story. When you're reading it on newspaper, it's different.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, it is real. It is real. There's jobs. There are jobs in this town right now that are available. Now, I don't know your background. Mm-hmm. I don't know your education. Yeah. I don't know how you interview. I don't know what you're wearing when you walk into the interview. I don't know anything like that.
That's right.
Okay? I don't. So I don't know if I'd hire you or not. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I'll tell you, there's never been a better time than right now. The harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. That's just the way I believe. Okay? So again, I wish you the best. And yes, go ahead.
I have one more question.
Go right ahead.
The question is based on like the welfare, right? If someone
Did you say welfare?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. If a foreigner is pregnant, he's not citizen yet, he has only his own green card. If that lady is pregnant and they go apply for assistance, they're going to tell them, say, no.
Well, and I need to tell you, the City of Sioux Falls, we're not in charge of welfare. We are. I apologize. That's one of the things that I definitely. I have folks that'll come from a different country, and they'll come and they'll say they'll come to the city, and they'll want assistance with certain things. City government does some things. County government does others, state government does others, and federal government does others. The city government, really, we're in charge of the things that are going on in your city. The roads, the police, fire, libraries, parks, community health, things like that. So I apologize, I'm not a good expert when it comes to welfare. Other than I want as few people on it as I possibly can. And I think that that's what South Dakotans want. They want people working as hard as they possibly can, earning their pay, and having as few people on welfare as possible. That's what they do in Sioux Falls, and that's what they do in South Dakota, and that's what they're going to keep encouraging others to do as well. So I apologize, I'm not an expert on that. But thank you. I'm not. I can't help you with that. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
My name is Emmanuel.
I'm Manuel.
Thank you for this opportunity.
My pleasure.
I have two concerns.
Yes.
Quickly. The first is about educational programs that
Yes.
immigrants that are moving over to Sioux Falls can benefit from. What are those educational programs that the City of Sioux Falls has for immigrant population? And then my second concern is about security.
Let's start with the first one. So what was what are you, let's start there first. Education programs for immigrants.
Yeah.
Do you have a concern? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have like those immigrant kids that are here, especially probably of university going ages, and they are probably wanting to enter a university to get maybe a degree or so. What sort of activities, what sort of programs like scholarship and all of those things that the city has that people who are in those categories can take advantage of such? And then I have a security concern.
Let's start there first, okay? So the first one was, what type of programs does the city have in terms of providing scholarship opportunities or grants so that people can get educated or get a degree in something like that? Again, the city doesn't really do much of that at all. In South Dakota, basically if you want to go to university or to college or to a training program, they make you, pay for it on your own. They do. Now, there are scholarships at some of those universities. There are grants at some of those universities or colleges or training schools. But you generally have to go directly to them and apply, and then they'll see if you qualify or if you're the one selected. Now, the city government of Sioux Falls, thanks to the city council, they did appropriate about $500,000 to try to do some new workforce development programs. And those are going to be announced here in the next couple of weeks or so. And we had a variety of different programs that applied to get some of that $500,000. And those are going to be released here real soon. I don't know the details, but I do know that Darren Smith and others are engaging folks on the council, and then they will announce that soon. But in terms of city dollars going for a scholarship or a grant, we don't have that. That's not done. You should go directly to the program or to the education center itself. So your second question,
Thank
good
you.
job.
My second question is about the security concern. Quite recently, there have been waves of security concerns with cities and immigrants. And to speak of examples, Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri,
Yes.
St. Louis, and other places. Now, we all know Sioux Falls to be a very peaceful place, and it has been like that for years and years. So what are those things that you are putting into place as a city government to ensure that those waves of immigrants and police brutality will not spill over to the city? Thank you.
Well, no, thank you. It's unbelievably sad. First of all, what some of these instances that are happening around the country, and in fact, the one this week is just, it's hard to even just imagine. I mean, what happened this week was unbelievable. And I think that there's pain that's being felt all across the country, again, because of it. And what I can tell you is that in Sioux Falls, we're doing a variety of different things, such as this. You've got a mayor, you've got a council, you've got others that want to learn to embrace diversity versus, kind of shun it. We want to celebrate it. We want to engage folks of diversity to try to figure out what are the issues, what are the opportunities before those issues get out of hand. For example, with our police team, Chief Doug Barthel and Assistant Chief Burns and others, we talk about some of the challenges that are going on in our police team. And we look for patterns, we look for trends, we look for things that are happening to see if we can kind of head them off at the pass before they get out of hand. But one of the things that I can assure you is that we do our best to treat not only the perpetrator of the crime, but also the victim of the crime the same, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their background. I mean, we truly are trying to do that. What I will tell you is that if you believe that there are examples of prejudice or of profiling or of things like that, let us know. I mean, we've got Huether here, we've got Colleen here from our city team, you've got a mayor, that we are engaged. We do track, we listen for those type of things. We act very, very aggressively when we hear them. Colleen, have you heard about anything going on in the city in terms of police issues when it deals with? Obviously, you've got to be worried that something like that can happen in Sioux Falls. Well, we certainly are too. But right now, I mean, I think we feel good about where we're at. But if you get the sense that you are being profiled or you're receiving prejudice, whether it be a place where you live, a place where you work, a place where you play, or you're driving down the street and you feel like somebody is treating you differently, you need to let us know. You need to let us know. We're fortunate, but I'm not going to say it won't ever happen. But if we hear about it, we're going to aggressively go after it. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Liberia.
Where's that? One thing I'm going to give you that. Thank you. You're originally from Liberia.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in Sioux Falls?
I've been here for a couple of months, I think 6, 7.
Where did you move here from?
I moved directly from Monrovia, and I moved here to do my MBA, and I'm currently in the MBA program at USF. I
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And what are you studying?
I'm majoring healthcare management.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, you picked a good city. We've got plenty of healthcare, looking for managers. So I commend you for your study. I love it. What you're doing is something I could not do. I'm not good at it. But, I commend you. Now, why did you come to Sioux Falls, though?
Actually, it was through the instrumentality of Reverend C.A. God First, and through his instrumentality, I was able to be offered a scholarship.
Love it.
And I'm currently maintaining the scholarship and ensuring that I can come out next summer.
I love it.
Yep.
Well, welcome to our town.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll thank the pastor for getting you engaged to come here. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's a three-pointer.
He's a what?
Three-pointer.
Great out.
Oh, very good. Very good. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pastor.
I had a follow-up question with Dennis what he asked.
Yes.
I believe in institutional building.
Yes.
We want to see how Sioux Falls or the city of Sioux Falls can help. And that Obaga is here. We've been discussing the possibility of having a certified interpreters when it comes to language.
Certified interpreters.
Yes.
Yes.
We have noticed those who cannot speak English to go to the school for meeting or when the children have done something and the children want to interpret for their parents. And definitely there will be a fraud in that interpretation because he will not say what he did to the school. So we are working on that. I want to see if the city can help the Diversity Council, which I'm on the board, he's on the board, to see how that can be developed, to smooth in that whole language barrier. Have people who can really interpret. And for the Liberian community, we have somebody here who knows about 4 of the languages and he can write one of the languages, So those kind of people who can find these kind of people in a different African community.
Yeah.
And we have people who can teach them. And what we were told, and Obaka can correct me, only Sioux Falls does not have certified interpreter. You go to Minneapolis, you get certified interpreter, you get everybody. So a little child cannot interpret for their mother, and most especially when the child is in the wrong, he's gonna lie.
Okay.
So what the city can do to help the Diversity Council to do that?
That is interesting. I've never been asked about certified interpreters before. Now we talk about interpreters quite a bit in this town, whether it be Lutheran Social Services, whether it be the Multicultural Center. We talk about that in terms of the need and the growing need for interpreters, because right now there's like 160 languages that are being spoken in the city of Sioux Falls. 160. And so we are changing, as you can tell. But in terms of them being certified, I don't know about that, and I don't even know how to make that happen. However, I will say this: we do need to find more and more interpreters, and all the time. One of the things that we do is that, for example, in our community health department, if we have someone who comes in and they need health care, and we can't get an interpreter, well, there is a number that we can call at least that will give us some ability to interpret over the phone. But it's certainly not perfect because it's not face to face. But yeah, it's one of the growing challenges, one of the issues that we face. Colleen, any thoughts on that? Would you mind? Or bail me out on this one? Thank you, Colleen. And by the way, Colleen Moran here, Colleen is one of your first lines of defense, as well as your first lines of communication in terms of tackling some of these opportunities or these issues that we have. So Colleen, any thoughts on certified interpreters?
I know that there are interpreters in Sioux Falls that are certified. There are places that don't require certification, don't require an interpreter to be certified in order to interpret. We use Language Line, as the mayor said, with the city, which I don't know if you're familiar with, but if somebody comes into my office and we are having we feel the need to have an interpreter, I can call that Language Line and I tell them what language we need interpreted. We can have, I put it on speakerphone, we can have a call, and generally then I set up an appointment for the person to come back and I bring a live interpreter. Because the city has contracts with a couple different agencies in Sioux Falls that do interpretation, so that they can come back and we can have that kind of conversation. So the requirements are probably different in other states than what they are in South Dakota, but I do know that there are people who are certified. They go through the certification process on their own in order to do that.
Yeah, but what we discussed is that to have that certification be done in the states of South Dakota, and Diversity Council has been working to see how we can create that, how we can do the certification.
Do you have any idea?
Right, and there would be other agencies. I know that a woman I know that got certified went to Minneapolis and did her training there. So that would be a contact that you could have, or the people in Minnesota that do the certification, to give you an idea of how that starts, what you would need it to start.
But in South Dakota, there's no certification training programs here.
None that I know of. There might be, but none that I'm aware of. And while I'm up and I have the microphone, which is always a dangerous thing for me, somebody asked a question about what the city has to offer for jobs and education. I don't know if you are familiar, but the city library, if you have a library card, you can go online. We have a database where you can study for your citizenship test for free. We have Mango Languages, where you can learn how to speak English. Through that language program, you can learn how to speak other languages. We also have what's called GALE, G-A-L-E courses, and those courses are free. And one of the courses is business writing. One of the courses is how to prepare and write a resume. There are courses on starting a nonprofit. There's 360 some courses and it's really a workforce development, career development kind of free program that we just started with our library system. And so you can get online and take those courses anytime you want, all 300 of them. You start on a certain date and end on a certain date, but please note, the library is one of your best resources. You can study all kinds of things. If you want to know how to fix your car, you can go online and you can look at the manual that tells you how to fix your car. But as far as workforce development, those are those things that are available free for you. Resume writing, cover letter writing, all of those things that give you a few more hints, and that's free through us.
Thank you, Colleen. How many of you have been to a Sioux Falls Public Library? I know, Eileen, you have, but can I just say, how many of you have been to a Sioux Falls library, if you'd raise your hand? So really about maybe 40%, about 4 out of 10. Can I ask why the rest of you have not gone to the library? Just not interested, or how many of you wouldn't feel welcome at a Sioux Falls library? Anybody? Wouldn't you? All right, well, that's good. Well, you are welcome. You know, these city things that we have, whether it be a park or a library or whatever it would be, come on in. It's for everybody here. So thank you for coaching me on that, Colleen. Nice job. Oh, okay. Give her that mic back. See, you get her going. It's all good. That's great, Colleen. I love it.
Emmanuel, I think you were the one that asked about law enforcement and feeling safe with law enforcement. One of the programs that our police department has started also is Coffee with a Cop.
Oh, yeah.
And please join them, because the officers want to come into your communities and talk to you about what's going on, what they should watch for, because they have officers that are basically assigned to communities. You know, they don't rove around the city, they are with your community. And Wanda and I have met with law enforcement about that. They would come here, just like the mayor does. Officers would come and speak to all of you right here if you wanted them to. So know that that is available too. Police officers want to come into your community, they want to listen to your concerns. So if you have that desire, would like somebody to come and visit, let me know and we can get that arranged.
Yeah, Pastor, let's do that. We'll do that. We'll have an officer come in, and you'll probably have, or he or she will probably have double the crowd than I got here today, but that'll be great. That'll be great. So who's next?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, we'll go there and then we'll come.
Yeah, okay, you can.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Samuel Ketter.
Samuel, welcome.
Yeah, and I would like to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and discuss these burning issues. My question here is, based on your level of understanding as a city manager and the way in which you interact with people on a daily basis, what are some of these advice, that you can give the immigrant community, in terms of like work, and other things? What are some of these advice,
Samuel, thank you. That, and I've done this before to other groups that want a better life, or they want to succeed, or they want they just want to take the days that God gives them, and they just want to capture even more. All I can do is I can just tell you, probably I'm just going to give you, Samuel, the same advice that I probably just live on my own, and that is I take the day that God gives me, and I try to make the absolute most of it. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, you got to work for it. You got to study for it. You got to pray for it. You got to deal with all these challenges that come in your life, some that you that you can get away from, and others that you can't. But again, going back, in South Dakota, you truly, it is one of those states where they want, the people here, we work. We work as hard as we possibly can to make our lives better, to make things better for our families. And I know that sounds so simple, but it really is. And I know many of you are working at the highest level in some conditions that are very, very challenging. What I'd encourage you to do is keep doing that, keep working hard, and at the same time, again, now is a great opportunity to go also and try to find a different job, or a better job, or study and train so that you can keep moving up. Or at a minimum, let me just say this. Let me just say this. And this is probably, at a minimum, if you are a father or a mother or a grandfather or a grandmother, or you're a brother or you're a sister, take care of your kids. Motivate them, make them work hard, make them study hard. You know, be there with them, listen to them, encourage them, motivate them. That's probably the absolute best thing that you can do. And I think that that's actually what God has intended us all to do. Is to, you know, yeah, make the most of our life, but even better yet, take these brothers, sisters, or these kids of ours and motivate them to be even better too. I think that's ultimately the thing that we should do. And sadly, that doesn't happen all the time. And it's not just, it's all across America. You've got all these kids out there. Again, whether they're black, white, yellow, it doesn't matter. But you've got all these kids out there that are just looking for someone to love them and care for them or motivate them or support them. And sadly, many of them are left alone, you know, to really on their own. So that's probably the best advice. You know, work as hard as you can, but maybe more importantly, encourage the young people here to really work hard. Eileen, can I ask you a favor? Would you come here a second? And just watch this, everybody. This is, where's the microphone? You've got it? Okay. Would you, when I was walking in here today, or I was already in, and all of a sudden there was a family that was coming in, and I had never met this young, beautiful person, and all of a sudden she came up, and I came up to her, and I just want to kind of give you an idea for those of you who just watch this interaction. Watch this interaction. And let's just act like, Eileen, let's just act like I'd never met you before. Okay, now you're going to have to put that in that hand. Yes, very good. Very good. Just watch this. Watch this young, beautiful person. All of a sudden, let's just say that we've never met before. All right, now just watch this. Okay, we're walking in. Hi, I'm Mike.
Hi, Mike. I'm Eileen.
Nice to meet you, Eileen.
Nice to meet you too, Mike.
Isn't that fantastic? I mean, the professionalism. She's educated. She's engaged. She's looking into my eyes. She shook my hand. She acknowledged me by repeating my name after. I mean, we need more and more Eileens. We do. Eileens or Edwards or whatever they are. We need more and more. And I'll bet, is your mom here? Where's your mom? Okay, very good. Mom, before I acknowledge Eileen, this is your mom, right? Well, let's acknowledge her mom. Because I'll tell you, being a mom or being a dad or being a husband or being a spouse, it is so hard. It's so unbelievably hard. And I can't imagine the amount of work that's gone into Eileen. But I'll bet it's been a ton of work to get you to where you're at today. Does your mom work hard? Okay. Is your dad with you too?
He's in Arizona.
Okay, Eileen, would you mind tell me about your dad? He's in Arizona.
Yes.
So your mom's alone, taking care of you.
Yeah.
And guess what? Same thing happened with me. My mom and dad were divorced when I was in, what grade are you in? Third. Well, when I was in 5th grade, and my brother Greg was in 3rd grade, my mom and dad were divorced. Okay? And I don't know your situation, and I apologize, but I think Eileen can handle it. But Eileen, my mom and dad were divorced when I was in 5th grade. And I had 2 brothers and a sister. My dad drank too much, okay? He's what you call he was an alcoholic. So his support to my family was very, very limited. And so it was really a struggle. And my mom had to work her tail off, but at the same time had to do whatever she could to support our family. And ultimately, that work, like your mom, paid off. okay? I didn't know if your dad was here or not, and he's not. But look how well you've turned out. Look how well you've turned out. But it's so much work. Look at that dad, just handed off. Are you the dad? Okay, did you see dad was holding a little baby, handed it off to mom? I mean, try being a dad or a mom. I mean, Dad, thank you for holding your little one there and being there for your bride and your kids. I love it. So, anyways, that was kind of a long-winded answer. Where did he go? There was a long-winded answer to that question. But Eileen, I mean this sincerely. The more that you work, the more that you study, the more that you pray in life, I think the odds are good for you that you're going to succeed. But it's going to be really hard. There's going to be some bad things that may kind of come your way. You're going to maybe even meet some bad people. And there's going to be all these challenging situations. But again, if you work hard and study a lot and stay positive and do the right thing, I think you're going to do well. You're going to do well. So thank you. And do you see your dad?
Yeah.
You do. That's good. That's good. So you do see your dad. Okay. I didn't see my dad much until later on. My dad actually did quit drinking. He did, which was good. But he didn't quit smoking. And the smoking killed my dad when he was 62. He was just a young guy. But Eileen, thank you. Good job. You bet. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, can we at least go ahead, Eileen?
Can you tell us about the history about Sioux Falls?
The history of Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Sorry. Like, just like the history.
Well, how much time do you have, Eileen? Well, let me tell you about where we're at. I'll tell you about where we're at right now, okay? Right now, we're a town of about 170,000 people. We grow about 3,000 to 4,000 people a year. Our town is about 75 square miles. Our main industries here in town are agriculture. That means farming and stuff like that. Agriculture, banking or financial services, healthcare, retail, tourism, manufacturing, construction. So we've got a lot of different job opportunities here. We are becoming more and more diverse. As I just said, Eileen, 160 different languages are spoken in our town. And that wasn't the case, 10 years ago. No way. But we've got people who want to move here because of the opportunities that we have, and it's a good place to live. Go ahead, Eileen. Go ahead.
That's it.
That's it? I'm proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Would you mind? Thank you, Eileen. Thank you. Nice job. Go right ahead. All right. So we're going from the third grader to the what?
To the higher up.
To the higher up. Okay.
Yeah. Mayor, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
For this great conference. We embrace your idea and the diversity program. Normally, I have been here since 2004.
Okay.
And I came here with a family member of 13, but we have grown up to 20-something members now. We still multiplying. When I got here, Sioux Falls was very small, but right now has been extending to the far point. I'm Reverend Nimna, Jeremiah Nimna. And one of the big things that I see between America and Africa is that we have a title in Africa that called illiteracy.
Yes.
And America is a developed country.
Yes.
Now we have illiterate coming into a developed country.
Yeah.
There is a problem there. Okay. Now, do you as a mayor foresee in the future that those coming from far away, personally, we have educators from back there. Do you foresee that we can have our own educational program where we can educate our people? One of the things that our brother just spoke about interview. Within the interviewing session or category, we have 15 different steps that someone must learn to be able to successfully pass the interview.
Yep.
Now, in your response, I understand it, and you know it, that probably you don't know how he dressed or what his appearance was, how many perfume that he put on himself, how he approached, yep. How he responded, or how he left the hall after the interview, and all of those things. These are education that our people need to learn. And this is the word that behind us is illiteracy. Yeah. Now, we need an era where we can begin to educate our people. Do you foresee in the future that we can establish those things? If there is a room that we can establish these things within the city?
Well, I think that, again, the education gap, the workforce training gaps, as we talked about the illiteracy, the inability to communicate either in verbal or in written form, these are all things that really hold people back, regardless of their age, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their background. That illiteracy especially is really really going to hurt you. Here's the challenge, is that we are actually even struggling in South Dakota and in America right now in terms of educating our kids. We are. You know, funding is being cut, programs are being slashed. We're struggling in terms of even educating our kids at the level that we want to. So what's happening is that before we even talk about educating adults or grandparents, we're really focused on, okay, that first line of training or education, and that is our kids. And so I want to give you hope that, yes, someday we'll expand training programs for adults and grandparents that are illiterate, but I tell you, it's going to be a challenge. What we are finding in some of the diverse communities in Sioux Falls right now is that they're actually creating their own training programs, which I just find is wonderful. But it's not a lot of them. You know, they're kind of at least taking care of themselves to help their community get to an even higher level. Okay, but in terms of the city doing it, I don't know if maybe this will even be part of the workforce training program, because I think that we know that educating people so that they can become better qualified or better trained to handle a job or to even do an interview or write a resume is a good first step. You know, we don't have community colleges in Sioux Falls, which I know is different too. A lot of you maybe have come from some of these larger cities where they have community colleges. We don't have that here. You kind of go from high school, and there's some trade schools, and then you go to university is usually the way that it works around South Dakota. It's a different concept. Some of the cities across America, they have these community colleges, which is kind of a good step to move from high school into a community college. Now, we do have trade schools, we do, and I'll tell you, if you can do a trade right now, if you can work with your hands, oh my, you are a hot commodity. People want you, because that is one of the places where we're really struggling in Sioux Falls, is finding people to work. So I didn't give you probably the answer that you wanted. I'm actually more fearful of that. I'm struggling with, when I was in 5th grade, Eileen, when I was your age, the amount of money that we spent on education was so much grander in terms of than what we do today. The programs that were available were so much grander when I was a young person than what they are today, and I'm worried about that. You know, And here we've got these 160 languages spoken in the Sioux Falls public schools. Well, this is kind of interesting. We've got people that are moving here that maybe can't speak English. Now, the young people are getting some education in terms of to try to help their ability to speak verbally or in written form. But what about mom and dad or grandma and grandpa who are at home and they don't know how to speak English or they don't know how to write? And that's what you're talking about. And those programs, they're out there, but they are more limited. They are. But again, the library would be a place to go. Colleen, others that you'd recommend? Maybe.
Well, I know the library, our library system, if people, there's sometimes you hear a job will say, you need to know how to do Excel or Microsoft Word or something, and you might not have an opportunity to do that. Our library offers free classes. And so they offer classes beginning computers where you've never used a computer before. They offer advanced, they offer Excel, they offer almost any kind of program you could want on the computer. And so please take advantage of that because those are free. You don't have to have a computer. You come right into the library. We have a computer lab. They teach you how to do all of those things. And it's free, and that's another way to develop marketable skills. I know that the Multicultural Center has some programs. And of course, you know, it all depends on funding too. And some of theirs is workforce readiness, and they specifically deal with women and helping them learn languages and prepare themselves to get into the workplace. So, you know, there are programs like that. You just have to search a little bit for them.
You know, it's so hard, and I'm gonna give it.
You know, with the Sioux Falls School District, I worked with the Sioux Falls School District in 2004, and we had a program within the Sioux Falls School District I called the Family Immersion Center.
Yes.
Okay, and that worked with people who first come into the U.S. They have extended right down because at first it was only in the elementary section, but you have traveled from the elementary to middle school and then high school programs right now. But that is not quite, you know, sufficient because it's only for the kids. But I'm basically talking about the parents, because here in Sioux Falls right now we have Lutheran Social Services, you know, aiding on that. We also have the
Multicultural Center.
The Career Center at I think STI.
Yes.
Okay, they're helping. But so many people that I recommended there, and then they had a problem where sometimes they would tell them, say, write 100 pages or something, and somebody who just don't know anything, you tell them, say, write 100 pages or something like that. So this is why I'm asking, but if you think that within the community we can establish that, then I think that's something that we in the community can begin to work towards in aiding our people.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Great job. And there you go. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm Ruth Obaka.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay. I've had pains.
Yes.
Coming here. And one of the pains I've had is seeing people around here coming from Africa, from Nepal, just name it. And they are qualified. They have qualifications from their countries. Some are doctors, engineers.
Yes.
They have qualifications. And they come here and they find that they cannot use these qualifications to function here. They are frustrated. You talked about the family. The best way is to look after our children. Well, fortunately, my children are all grown up and there are something out there in the society. But these people come here. The jobs that they can get, Mike, are jobs with, I don't want to mention
I know.
names.
Mm-hmm.
They can only work at night. night. All night. They come back. By the time they come back, they are so tired. The children go to school in the morning. These parents hardly see their children. How do we expect them to relate with these children? The children are lost. They don't know the parents. There's no relationship with them. It's big pain. Very big for me. How can we help? Please. Our children are in big trouble. They are taking drugs. They are in our jails here, many of them. I don't have the statistics, but I know there are many. Mike? Colin? I don't know. I know you don't have the answers. I don't know. What can we do? I was working with Lutheran Social Services. My qualifications were not accepted. I was educated in Indiana University, a master's degree. I came here, and they said, the school district said, no, you didn't get education here, therefore we cannot hire you. What? My husband has a PhD, Indiana University, with a, what do you call it? Something information science.
Yes.
A PhD. We came here, and South Dakota said, no, you didn't get education here. God, have mercy. What do we do?
Well, first of all, I thank you for your passion, but let me just...
Can I say something?
Please.
A little bit.
Go ahead.
Now,
Daniel, bless you.
I got frustrated working with Lutheran Social Services. Sorry, I have to mention that.
That's okay.
Earning a pittance because I have a passion for the refugees. Many of my students are here. Thank you all for your patience as I was teaching you. But what do we do? Colin, I have, after resigning from Lutheran Social Services, I decided to set up a computer area, computer place.
Wonderful.
Free. You can come. Not that I know much, but Moses is here. He's ready to help. Daniel is here. He knows a lot. I have a computer. We have a computer place. We have about 15 laptops right now. I'm an ESL teacher. I will teach. I will do it. Please advertise it for us.
Okay.
We need help. Please help us. Our people need help.
Well, very good. First of all, thank you for your passion. I appreciate that. I'm going to try to address as many of those comments as I can. First of all, I did mention something. One of the first steps is you have to learn to help yourself first. You do, and it sounds like that's what Mrs. Obaka and others are going to try to do for the community. And it sounds like it's available to anybody. That is a great thing, because again, one of the things that I find a lot when I work with folks that are immigrants coming in, is they'll say, "Hey, Mayor, can we have some money so that we can build our church?" The answer is no. You've got to raise that money yourself. Or, "Hey, Mayor, you know what? I need some money so that I can learn how to drive." And I'll go, well, I'm sorry, but you've got to raise that money yourself and then go get the training so that you can learn how to drive. Or, you know, or mayor this or mayor that. The challenge is, in America, a lot of these programs you have to fund yourself or you have to develop yourself. It's just the way that it is. And it's so frustrating, I know. But that is one of the things. When I was running for mayor, I went to Smithfield Foods or John Morrell and Company. In the old days, if you wanted to be the mayor, you had to do that, okay? And then for years, mayors didn't do that anymore. Well, I did. When I was running for mayor, I wanted to do it the old-fashioned way. And that was shaking hands with the workers of John Morrell. I did. I met them in the morning as they were coming into the shift, and then I turned this way as they were leaving, and they were shaking, and then I did it again in the afternoon. I heard the stories of the people with the doctorate degrees or the engineering degrees or the IT degrees. And what happens is that in South Dakota, in America, you can have a degree in another country, but that will not transfer over into America. It just won't. And the same thing applies with some of these licenses that you have to have. If it's a specialty, you do have to get a South Dakota license, including teaching. You do. My sister Vicki, even if she graduated from South Dakota State University, when she went to Texas, she had to get the certain licenses from Texas as well. But I know it's frustrating because you're going, oh, I did all that work in my home country. You know, I was a professional there and now I can't do that here. But again, I'm going to go back to something. I know that there's a feeling out there that, oh, I'm not going to be able to get that new job because I'm working this shift or I've lost hope. What I'm telling you is that right now there's never been a better time for the immigrant community, for the refugee community, for the unemployed, for the underemployed, for those that are not happy with their job. There has never been a better time in Sioux Falls to find a better job than now. There just hasn't. That person who's got the doctorate at Smithfield Foods, and again, I'm a big fan of Smithfield, I am. But that person who's there with that doctorate, if they can find a way to go out and try to find a better job in the off when they're not working, it's a good time to do it. But it is going to be hard. I know my mom, and again, I don't want to go back to, my mom was alone with 4 kids working ungodly hours, but she found a way with the support of others to help not only the kids, but also, you know, help herself, and so that we moved up. But it was really, really hard. And I do feel for you, and I feel for anybody who's underemployed. And what that means is that when you're underemployed, what that means is that you're doing a job that you have the qualifications well beyond that. That means you're underemployed, okay? That means you're doing this job, but you've got qualifications or training or education to do this job, okay? You're underemployed. Well, now is the right time, or if you can, to get this better job. But again, we started this thing, one of the biggest issues is the communication. It just is, that illiteracy, that verbal and written skills, computer skills, phone skills, although that is one of the biggest challenges that people have from the diverse community. But I don't have the answers, but what I'll tell you is that you're at least in a town where I think you've got a better chance than in others. And I think that's why people are moving here, because they realize that they do have a better chance. I know your passion. I know your husband's passion. I know how hard you're working to make things better. But it's still not, there's still a long way to go. Yes, thank you. Yes, Pastor?
Thank you, Mayor.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Well,
Pastor, put that. You speak. You know. There you go. You know how to speak.
This is not doing nothing. My voice is bigger than this.
I need you to hold. Go ahead.
All right. All right. Well, fellow immigrant community, my name is Pastor Daniel Gaite from the First Lutheran African Ministry. Thank you, Colleen, to be here. And my first history is, I think my brothers just said it. In 2004, when we got here in Sioux Falls, we came straight from Liberia. I came straight from Ivory Coast, and we came here in Sioux Falls. I'm sorry to say that. It was very difficult to see a black community. Mm-hmm. We were just about 10 families like here, and it was difficult for us to see a black community. When you go to Walmart, you don't see your brother black community. Only one time in 2004, it took me one time to see an African American in Walmart. It took me another 5 more months to see another person again. So nobody knows us. Sometimes when we go to the store, my mom will put her laptop down, and then we put everything in it. We don't know how to even take the city bus. Mm-hmm. And me and my wife put everything on our head and then walk back home. Mm-hmm. So it was difficult for us. So that's the experience I can give to some of my black community who move from different states that have more black population. I tell them this state is a white state and they don't have more experience.
And he is a friend of mine. He is, and the story is a true one in terms of when we first met. But I am going to, with your permission, Pastor, if you don't mind, we've got a lot of work to do here as we become more and more diverse, because I will guarantee you, I see people of diversity now everywhere, and I think that what has happened though in this town versus some others in America. I think we have taken a proactive approach to embrace it, at least not be fearful of it, or in some cases, really try to even quell it. Lutheran Social Services, the Multicultural Center, employers that'll hire people of diversity, whoever they would be. We are trying more and more to, again, embrace this diversity, but there's still a lot of work to do. There is. And obviously you can hear it, whether it be, trying to help someone get educated at a higher level, trying to take someone who's got a degree and who's unemployed and help them. Trying to help our young people, trying to help seniors, trying to do all these things. We've got a lot of work to do, but I still strongly believe that I don't know if there's a better place in America right now, whether it be finding a good job, being safe, finding opportunity, getting education, at least for your kids. I don't think you're going to find a better place.
So my request.
Go ahead.
My request to you, Mayor, and the City Council.
Go right ahead.
On behalf of the African community, would there be a future messaging from the city that some other black African people who come here, some people know how to do carpeting, roofing, plumbing, or cleaning businesses. Would there be a grant from the city to say, yes, these people bring their request and they know this, we can give them grant? Because credit-wise to the bank, I'm dumped. The bank will not look at me.
Well, one thing I will tell you is that if the city were to ever do a program, okay, it wouldn't just be for the African community or the Liberian community or the Sudanese community or the Korean community or the Russian community. It wouldn't be that. It would be a program that is really intended to help anybody, regardless of color, regardless of sex, regardless of age, that they could get a grant to move themselves up. Those are some of the things that we're looking at right now. that I think is one of the things that I'd love you to remember. In America, and definitely in South Dakota and Sioux Falls, they're not going to do government programs for specific nationalities.
That's right.
They just won't, okay? But I do think, though, that you're going to see that as we become more and more diverse in Sioux Falls, we are going to have to consider and then ultimately execute more and more of these type of programs. We do. As well as we have to hold the programs that are already out there, we need to hold them more accountable. You know, I've heard complaints tonight, and I've heard them in the past about the Multicultural Center. I've heard it. And we listen, we learn, and we try to engage not only the leaders of the Multicultural Center, but also the employees there. I've heard the concerns about the Lutheran Social Services. The city is not in charge of that, but we don't just turn a blind eye. We do talk to the folks there to find out what is real, what is not. We've got, you know, Wantana and Colleen and others that are there to be a voice for people of diversity that believe that there have been racist activities or things like that. But it's not enough. It's not. And we realize that. And because we are, you know, becoming more and more diverse, that's why we're even holding programs like this. But here's my commitment to you. Here's my commitment to you. There are some cities, there are some councilors, there are some mayors, there are some leaders that would look at this and just turn away from it.
That's right.
Okay? My commitment to you is that we're not going to do that. We're not. It's not over. It's not easy, but we're not going to turn away. The easiest thing for me to do would be just ignore you folks. That would have been the easiest thing for me to do. I'm not running for mayor again. I can't. I can't do it.
We still want you.
I can't. But we're not going to ignore you. This city's not going to ignore you. But it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of pain and a lot of tears and a lot of study and a lot of this and a lot of that. But you know, I feel good that we'll keep doing it. Yes, go right ahead.
We got 3 more people. So we will entertain 2 questions.
Okay, 2 more questions. Let's go to the father.
All right, let's just finish right here.
All right, we'll go there and then we'll go there. Okay, thank you. Go right. So, welcome. Your name, please?
I'm Benedict Stewart.
The first name?
Benedict Stewart.
Benedict Stewart. Nice to meet you, Benedict.
I got one concern.
Yes.
My concern is, do the City of Sioux Falls conduct inspection to various areas of work? If so, what are the measures they are putting into place to make sure that workers in Sioux Falls have a safe environment for work?
Okay. Benedict, your question was, does the city do inspections of a work environment?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, for example, there are some places that, yes, we do inspect as a city. For example, like health, restaurants, for example. The city will go in there and inspect the restaurant, but really not in terms of you know, work conditions, but really health conditions. You know, are they sanitary? Is the food being processed right? The state, they also have people that will go in and inspect different work environments. But in terms of work conditions, that is really done probably by the state or the federal government. Things like OSHA, for example. And so if there are, but I will say this. If you believe that you're in a situation where you're in a work environment where you're being treated unfairly because of your color or your age or your sex or whatever it would be, let us know, and we can certainly investigate that. We can. That we do have that, and we have to. We actually have to. Colleen, quickly before I go to the gentleman, any other thoughts on I'm going to steal that from you, Dad, if you don't mind. Give that to Colleen. Colleen, is there if there is a work environment where an employee is in an unsafe work environment, what is a place that they could go to?
If it's unsafe, just because it's an unsafe place, unhealthy place, the city wouldn't necessarily be the place that you would come. Like the mayor said, we can look at restaurants, but we look at that for health purposes. OSHA, you would look at. The Department of Labor is always a good contact for you, because then they know where to send you from there. If your environment is unsafe based on your race or your color or your sex or your religion, that's a complaint that you would come and make to my office, because then we would investigate it if you are treated differently than somebody who is not of your race or not of your age or not of your sex or something like that. But OSHA and the Department of Labor look at workplace safety.
And OSHA is federal government.
Correct.
Department of Labor is
we have one
federal
right,
and state?
We have
okay.
A Department of Labor office right in Sioux Falls.
Okay. Very good, very good. Benedict, thank you. And two, I just wanted to, I didn't want to cut my friend off. It is a listening and learning session. It is. And it's not just for me. We film this for a reason. Okay? You can't imagine how many people watch this program in the city of Sioux Falls. You can't imagine how many of them don't understand the challenges of someone of diversity in our town. This program helps educate everybody that watches it, about these challenges. Not everybody's gonna be happy with what they've heard today. Okay? Not everybody. But others will go, oh, you know what, I've never thought of it that way. The doctor at the firm who can't use his or her degree because of the licensing differences. When I first heard that, I went, oh my gosh, that's real. That's real. We just had a program a couple months ago where I told the story where I was with Juan Bonilla. He's of Spanish-speaking descent, okay? And he told me a story when I was running for mayor about how women in the Spanish-speaking community, they could be in a situation where they're getting abused physically or verbally or emotionally in their home, but they won't contact the police for fear that they could get, maybe deported or sent away. And when I first heard that, I'm going, oh my gosh, that's really going on. And maybe that's even happening amongst the other, maybe even, folks right in this room. These are things that we talk about as a community, and now we're educating people on TV about some of these challenges so that when I'm done being a mayor, someone else can step up and do it, or others in the community can get involved. This church, having a place to gather and worship with folks of diversity. I mean, First Baptist is doing that. That didn't happen 10 years ago. Yes. That didn't happen 10 years ago. It was basically, hey, if you want a place to worship, build it yourself. Well, you know how hard that is. You know how expensive it is. We've got places like First Baptist and so many others now that will open up their churches so that people can worship together. They can congregate together. They can pray together or even meet together. There's change happening. Is it perfect? No. But there is change happening, and I love that. It's not 2004 anymore. If you go to Walmart, I'll see people that are of color now. And I'll see people not only shopping there, but working there. They are. And is it a great thing? No, but it's better than what it was. Dad, we want to know your name.
Yeah, Mayor Mike, thank you for giving me the time to ask a question. My name is Ishmael Machon.
Ishmael.
Yeah, and I moved to Sioux Falls. I'm almost like 2 years now in Sioux Falls. And I want to ask a very important question in regards to law enforcement.
Sure.
I know we hear a lot of stuff going around in the country. And in our community, like our mother rightly said, there are a lot of youth that are in prison and stuff. What is the law enforcement department doing, like in regards to like the deputies and what I feel like fire service and all the other places? Are they giving immigrant opportunity to get into those areas? Like create a community watch team, like where we can be able to help them for our younger ones in the community not to go to prison. You know, what can they do? What can they reach out to us and see how we can help them? You know, like even if we don't put on the uniform, how can we be a help to them?
Ishmael, that is something that I beg of all of the community to understand this. And it's one of the biggest challenges that we've tried to tackle over the last 5 years as your mayor. And it's one of the most frustrating ones for me because we've not made as much progress as I was hoping that we would. And it's this. As our community becomes more and more diverse, we also want the employees of city government to be as diverse as well. And I swear, we have made an effort to make that happen. But guess what's holding it back? You already know the answer.
It's education.
Thank you. Thank you. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. What is holding us back from hiring more people of diversity in Sioux Falls city government? It is
Education.
Education, or it's skill set. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to get emotional. I gotta calm down here. I gotta calm down here. Because truly, Colleen knows this. It's been one of my goals as your mayor. I want to, and not only, Ishmael, not only do I have this goal, Chief Barthel also has this goal. Chief Barthel is the chief of the police, okay? Chief Sedaris is the chief of the fire. Bill O'Toole is in charge of human resources. All the other department heads, we have had this as a goal for at least 5 years and before, whether it be Mayor Munson, Mayor Hanson, Mayor Noby. But here's the challenge. We make everybody compete for the job. We do. And you have to be qualified and you have to compete against everybody else, and they're going to pick the best qualified. We don't hire based on, well, we're going to have so many people of color on our team. It's not the way that it works. It just isn't. And getting a city job is, and especially, this is key. Being a police officer, being a firefighter, you want to hire people based on their skill set, their training, their education, their ability to handle themselves in stress. You want the best person. But again, it comes back to Ishmael. I mean, if you'd like to be a firefighter or if you'd like to be a police officer, I would encourage you to apply, okay? It's not going to be easy. It's a battle royal to become a police officer in our town. It is. But we want to hire people of diversity so bad, so bad. We do. We also know it's important because it shows the community that we're all, we all want to be good neighbors. Not just white people, all people. We all need to be good neighbors. We all need to protect each other. You know, if Ishmael gets in a car accident, I want to help Ishmael. If I get in a car accident, I want Ishmael to help me. Okay? If I need him to care for me, I need that, and vice versa, regardless of the color of our skin, regardless of our diverse background. But Ishmael, that's our challenge. We want to hire people of diversity so bad, but it comes down to that training or that skill set or that education. So anybody watching this program, and how many, listen to this. I'm getting emotional again. Colleen, we've put, over the last 5 years, we've developed a list of what we consider are the leaders of diversity in Sioux Falls, or other individuals that we believe have a good communication line with people of diversity. So that when we have job openings like this, we like to send those out and say, well, let me give you an example. Here's a good one right now. We need part-time workers for the summer, okay? Now, it's not a doctor, it's not an engineer, but we need workers right now, and we can't find workers, okay? So do you have a 17 or 18 or 19-year-old young woman or young man who wants to work for the summer because they're looking for a summer job instead of, they need something to do in the summer? Have them apply, please. We need them right now. We're trying to get parse workers to be on our team of diversity. We can't get anybody to apply. We can't. So Ishmael, that's a great, that's probably a good way to end the session. I mean, we kind of started with education and training and opportunity and moving ahead, and now it's kind of come full circle to Ishmael's question. He said, Mayor, how come our police team and fire team isn't more diverse? I want it to be as diverse as we can, but you've got to earn it. And you've got to earn it. You've got to be qualified for it. You've got to be trained for it. It's not just going to be handed. It's just not. And we don't want it to be that way, because we want the best women, the best men, regardless of the color of their skin. We want them taking care of us. So thank you, Ishmael. I appreciate it. This is the longest listening and learning session I've done in my 5 years. I'm sorry. It's the longest one we've done. What we'll do is we'll end the listening and learning session, at least for TV, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll get together and I can answer some questions before I leave. I do want to, I'm going to turn it up here. So would you close our program quickly? Again, thank you so much for inviting me here today.
I want to turn your mic over, but there's a question that's been posed to me on my test like 3 times. One question is a yes and no question. Will you please, just for the person, I think that person very affected. My name is Ernest Gite, also a Liberian community leader here.
Yes, Ernest.
And this person been testing me, asking me, in the state of South Dakota, the employers have the right to just fire you for any reason or for no reason.
Well, that's interesting. It is Ernest, you can hold that. You can hold that. It is it's interesting. It is a right to work state, okay? The employer definitely can hire the person that they want, and they can employ the person that they want. Now, normally though, you're fired for cause, okay? But if somebody, if you believe, and Colleen, I'm going to probably ask, you're the expert on this more than anybody. Ernest asked, can somebody be fired just for any reason in the state of South Dakota?
No reason.
Well, it would be any reason. Yeah, any reason. Yeah. Because that employer, they have a reason that they're doing it. Okay, so it's not no reason, but so it's any reason. So that's interesting. Go ahead, Colleen.
South Dakota is an at-will state, but they can fire.
Now she said at-will state. Did you hear that? Sioux Falls, South Dakota is an at-will state. So go ahead.
So they can fire you at will. You can quit at will, except you can't be fired for an illegal reason, which is discrimination. So you can't be fired because of the color of your skin, or your race, or your religion, or your sex, or your age, or your ability, or your disability. And so if someone fires you for that reason, that's impermissible. And that's a chance where you would come to our office and we investigate that kind of complaint.
But if they don't like you, they can fire you?
If
Well,
they don't like you, they can.
Yeah,
I mean,
it-
you know, and there are some people that you say are, you know, my boss always picks on me and does all of these things, but if he's like that to everybody, you just have a bad boss.
Yeah, Colleen, thank you. I was going to try to, but that was really good.